Christian Toby Obumseli is a 27-year-old man who was stabbed in his luxury apartment by his IG model girlfriend. Now, the IG model Courtney Taylor is claiming self-defense, but their mutual friend says that Christian wasn't violent.
Well, there's been an update in the OnlyFans/Instagram model case of Courtney Clenney, who stood accused of unaliving her boyfriend, Christian Obumseli. 2 weeks ago, you know that I reported that Courtney Clenney, who you see below, would be coming back to court because she did reach a plea agreement with the prosecutor's office. Well, that agreement was settled today, and the judge came back with a sentence. The judge sentenced Courtney to 6 years in prison.
Y'all, this doesn't sit right with me at all, right? Courtney Clenney pleaded guilty to manslaughter with a deadly weapon after fatally stabbing her boyfriend, Christian, back in 2022, right? Guess how long they sentenced this woman to? 6 years.
Remember that one guy, Christian Obumseli, who was on Twitter telling the world how much he hates black women and that he would never date black women and how much they disgust him? And then he got clipped by his OF model girlfriend, who was then in court laughing. Well, she was allowed to take a plea deal of manslaughter, which is a much lesser sentence than what she would have served had she probably stood trial. And now she's only got to serve about a year and a half left in her sentence because the judge decided that it totaled 6 years. She's been behind bars for 4. And she only has about a year and a half left until she is a freed woman after clipping her ex. Now, I'm not sharing this story because I'm saying anyone deserved to lose their lives. Like, that just is never okay. But what I am saying is all that hot talk didn't turn out so well. And that's why you should leave people alone, because the woman that you decided to date took you out. Just like that, after you said all of that about black women, and now she about to be free. Weird.
Well, they gonna learn one day, but until then, I know last week I had mentioned that Courtney Clenney, this is her now, this was her then, took a plea deal in this case with Mr. Obumseli here, where he was unalived by her, and she claimed that it was self-defense. Well, she took a plea deal for manslaughter. She was given 6 years in prison with 5 years of probation. However, she's already been locked up for 4 years. So they're giving her time served on the 4 years. For all intents and purposes, she'll be out of jail within a year and a half to 2 years for the unaliving of this man. His family was there in the courthouse watching, and their attorney states that, you know, hopefully this is some closure for them. I don't see how unaliving your child and a person only getting 6 years is closure for you, but whatever. But, you know, may he rest in preference, because he had a lot of things to say about black women, what kind of people we were, and how, you know, white women were top tier, and he ended up losing his life at the hands of one.
Well. What do we have here? Do y'all remember whenever this OnlyFans model, Courtney Clenney, knifed her boyfriend, Christian Obumseli, and the whole world was just like, what's for dinner? Because we all found his very offensive tweets about black women. I mean, they were just deplorable. I really think he was low-key obsessed, but God bless his soul. So anyway, she was sentenced for that today. Mind you, she's been in jail since August of 2022. And today, she was finally sentenced for her crimes. Child, tell me why they only gave her 6 years. 6 years, and she's already served 4. And then 5 years of probation. And I find that very unfortunate because I did a deep dive on these two on my own time. I didn't make content behind it. And she was beating the shit out of him. She had already punctured him before she actually like unalived him. It's unfortunate that men like Christian put women that are not of color on a pedestal like this, because they are still women. She is still human. Because baby, when I tell you she was turning that man every way but loose, I mean every way but loose. Strong ass little girl. But I say all of that to say, black men, y'all have to stop. The ones that think like this have to stop this rhetoric and this ideology that any woman that is not black is of a way higher caliber, honey. Because there's another case, and I don't know it off bat, but I watched the police body cam, where a Caucasian woman, I can't say that, pew-pewed her husband, her black husband, and I believe she finna get off on that too. Okay, they are giving these women passes. Imagine hating a chocolate drop and being unalived by your milk and magnesia.
Black Americans are reacting to Courtney Clenney walking free in 2 years. That's right, 2 years, not 6, not 60, 2. Let that sink in for a second, because we're about to break down exactly how a woman who unalived her boyfriend in their own apartment is looking at freedom sooner than most people serve for non-violent drug charges. Let's rewind to April 3rd of 2022. Christian Toby Obumseli, 27 years old, is inside a luxury high-rise apartment in Miami with his girlfriend Courtney, an OnlyFans model with millions of followers who went by the name Courtney Taylor online. By the end of that night, Christian is no more from a stab-wound, and Courtney is on the phone with 911 crying. Now here's where it gets messy. Courtney claimed self-defense. She said she threw a kitchen knife at him from about 10 feet away because she felt threatened, but the medical examiner didn't buy it. The wound was a 3-inch downward stab to the shoulder, which forensic experts said doesn't line up with someone throwing a knife defensively from across a room. And that's a stabbing motion, not a throw. She wasn't arrested right away either. Courtney fled to a rehab facility in Hawaii, and it took months, 4 months to be exact, before she was finally extradited back to Florida and charged with second-degree murder. During that time, more footage started surfacing, videos allegedly showing a pattern of aggression between the two of them, including clips that appeared to show Courtney the aggressor, not the victim, contrary to the narrative her legal team will later try to build. Now, before we proceed, let me play you a few more of these reactions, and then I'll come back with more commentary.
Courtney Clenney, the lady that killed Christian Obumseli, has been sentenced to 6 years for manslaughter, because the state actually believes that it was self-defense. 6 years, she's already done 4 years, she's out. Christmas 2027, she's going to be at home. She's going to be home before P. Diddy, okay? And let that sink in. And that is the American judicial system, right? So as a black man, before you open your raggedy mouth to speak on black women and how black women are this, that, and the third and not children of God, and then you want to pedestalize those white women, let Christian Obumseli's story be an example for you. Do you understand? Do you understand? Because I guarantee you, had black women stood up for Christian, that lady would have been facing 20 years in prison, because we would have put pressure on their necks. But Christian didn't respect black women. Christian was talking shit about black women. So black women took their hand away. And now your murderer is only doing 6 years. Like 6 years for taking a person's life. 6 years. And she's already done 4. With good behavior, she would be out next year. She wouldn't even have to do those 2 years. She's already done the majority of those years. Because really and truly, you need to just do like 80%, right? She's done the bulk of it. Had black women been standing up for Christian, had we marched for Christian, had we petitioned for Christian, had we done all these things for Christian, that woman would be sitting in prison for 20 to 25 years. But you see, Christian, you didn't respect the people that birthed you. You didn't respect the women that raised you. You were looking down on black women, especially black American women, which I think is very crazy for you to be a black immigrant, to move to a country that other blacks fought for the freedom and the right of that country. And now you want to look down your nose at them people, but yet you are living in that country at the grace of the fight that their ancestors fought. Because let me tell you something, if America was still under Jim Crow, I guarantee you them immigrants won't be over there, because who wants to live under Jim Crow? But I think it's very disgusting that the things that he said about black women, called black women all type of names, all type of things. And clearly Christian really worshipped this white woman, because I've watched the videos. I watched the tape where the day she was arrested and they took her to the police station. They were talking to her, and a couple hours later they were like, oh, by the way, Christian passed away. And she was like, oh my god, he died, no way, I need somebody to hug me. And one of the detectives was gonna hug her. You just told her she's a murderer. One of the detectives was going to hug her. That is the American justice system. Okay? A white detective was going to comfort a white woman after she just found out she murdered her boyfriend in cold blood. Even though we have evidence to show that she was the aggressor, she was the one that was always attacking him. There were notes on his phone talking about how, he was talking about how she would call him the N-word with the hard ER, with the at the F. Father God.
Did y'all hear about how Courtney Clenney only got 6 years for the murder of her ex-boyfriend? Yes, this girl right here fatally stabbed her then boyfriend, Christian, known as Toby Obumseli. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Now let's run this shit back. Carmelo Anthony got 35 years. 35 years. Nolan Wells, no one has been arrested for his murder. Rick Chow is not even in jail. And this white woman, she only got 6 years because of a manslaughter charge. So I ask you, what is a life worth to you? 2 years? 3 years? 1 year? 6 years? 35? Would you consider this to be justice for Christian? For his family? This young woman can go about her life. She can live a long, healthy life forever, for the rest of her life. Now Christian is gone.
For 4 years, 4 full years, this case dragged through the Miami court system. Courtney sat in the correctional center the entire time, denied bond, while her legal team built a defense strategy centered on painting Christian as abusive. They brought up incidents in Dubai, incidents in Austin, claims that he shoved her, claims that he had her fingers. Christian's family pushed back on every single of those claims, saying it was Courtney who was the abuser in the relationship and not him. And then, just weeks before this thing was finally supposed to go to trial, Courtney took a deal. She pleaded guilty, not to second-degree murder, but to manslaughter with a deadly weapon, a significantly lesser charge. The sentence, 6 years in prison, followed by 5 years of probation. Sounds like something, right? Until you hear the fine print, because she gets credit for the 4 years she already served while waiting trial, which means, realistically, Courtney could be out and back on the street in as little as a year and a half to 2 years from now. 2 years for a man who is never coming back, for a family who will never get to see him grow older, get married, have kids, build the life he was working toward at 27 years old. 2 years. And then Courtney gets to walk out, do her mental health treatment, do her probation, and eventually just move on with her life. And that's the deal. Now, let's talk about why this one is different for a lot of us. Christian was a black man. Courtney, a white woman with a massive online platform, millions of followers, and the kind of resources that buy you the best defense attorneys money can buy. And when you look at how this case was handled from day one, the months it took to even arrest her, the bond hearings, the media coverage that at times felt more sympathetic to her than to the victim, a lot of people are asking the same question: would this have gone down the exact same way if the roles were reversed? If a black man had unalived his white girlfriend and then took 4 months to get arrested? If he'd gotten a plea deal down to manslaughter and a shot at freedom in 2 years? I think we all know how that story usually goes, and it doesn't usually end with 2 years and a mental health evaluation. And this isn't about excusing anything Christian may or may not have done in that relationship. If you've seen the discourse online, you know there are people who've dug up things he allegedly said about black women in the past, and if that's true, that's a real conversation worth having separately. But none of that changes the fact that a 27-year-old man is gone, and the woman who unalived him negotiated her way down to a sentence shorter than some people get for stealing a car. And there's also a bigger conversation happening right now, and it's one black women have been trying to have for years. The way some black men will publicly criticize, degrade, or turn their backs on black women while chasing validation from everyone else. It's not new, and it's not rare. You see it everywhere. Men going out of their way to praise every other race of woman while finding something to complain about when it comes to their own. And the frustrating part is, black women are so often expected to sit there and take it quietly, to not get too angry about it, to not be too sensitive, when really they're just tired of watching the same pattern play out over and over. If the allegations about Christian's comments are true, he wouldn't be the first, and unfortunately, he probably won't be the last. But it's worth naming because Black women deserve better than being an afterthought in their own community. Also, this case is a pattern we've seen before. Justice moves differently depending on who's sitting in that courtroom chair. So now the case is closed, the plea deal is signed, and in about 2 years, Courtney is going to walk out of a Florida prison and start her probation. Meanwhile, Christian's family get to carry this for the rest of their lives. No amount of time behind bars gives them their son, their brother, their family member back. And 2 years feels like an insult on top of that grief.
Damn. I would be smiling too, though, if I had just got off for stabbing my boyfriend to death. I declare, honey, what a disgrace, baby.
So what do you all think? Is 6 years, really 2, after time served, anywhere close to justice for a life? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. I would love to keep this discussion going. Otherwise, that's it from me. I also have another video specifically tailored for you. And if you enjoy such kind of content, please click up here and enjoy. Also, consider subscribing, liking and sharing because it helps me grow my channel and helps you to recommend this video to a wider audience. But for now, thank you so much for watching. And until the next time, the Joy Report out.